We did give in. This grotesque version of Halloween went on for more than a year, and it's still going on. Not even Tony Fauci still pretends that masks are medically necessary. Instead, masks are purely a sign of political obedience, like Kim Il-sung pins in Pyongyang.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to watch a clip from Tucker Carlson's Fox News show from the other night. And Tucker is going off about the tyranny of masks. These tiny pieces of cloth that people have had to wear over half their face when going outside or in public places or in restaurants where multiple people are, or inside shopping centers or supermarkets or grocery stores, basically to protect other people from the COVID-19 pandemic, and to protect yourself too. That's why other people wear it. You wear your mask to protect other people. They wear their mask to protect you. It's to keep your own spit, saliva, breath, germs off of other people. And I mean, it is stunning that people have such a problem with wearing this cloth over their face. It's such a issue. I mean, it's literally, who cares? Like I mentioned earlier, do you yell at people who wear beanies when it's not the winter? Do you go shouting at people who wear scarves for aesthetic reasons? What about people who wear, such as myself, who during the early spring months and the early fall months, the people who wear shorts with their hoodies on? Whew. Makes no sense. Doesn't make any sense. Why would we wear a hoodie with shorts? It's either hot or it's cold. I can't tell you why I do it. It's comfortable. Other than that, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. We don't yell at those people, though, do we? But here's Tucker Carlson going apeshit over the fact that some people are wearing masks.
We did give in. This grotesque version of Halloween went on for more than a year, and it's still going on. Not even Tony Fauci still pretends that masks are medically necessary. Instead, masks are purely a sign of political obedience, like Kim Il-sung pins in Pyongyang. We wear them because we have to. The only people who wear masks voluntarily outside are zealots and neurotics. How neurotic are they? Well, we know. A Pew survey from last March found that 64% of white Americans who classify themselves as liberal or very liberal have been diagnosed with an actual mental health condition. And you see them everywhere when you walk down the street in any major city. If you dare to go on foot from Union Station to the Capitol, for example, in Washington without wearing a mask, angry Biden voters will snort at you in judgment. How could you? They're saying from behind the gauze. How could you? That's the question we should be asking of them in return.
Well, first of all, again, I mentioned this earlier in a conversation with a caller, but CDC is saying that if you're vaccinated, fully vaccinated, you can go outside and not wear a mask. But they're not talking about if you're like in a busy urban setting. They're not talking about if you're walking down packed streets where people are like less than a few inches away from you. And, you know, you're headed to, like he said, you're headed to an area where, you know, a subway station, for example. That's not what they're talking about. Like if you're outside going for a jog and it's not a densely packed, densely populated area, you can go out. I mean, the CDC doesn't say you should be sitting like sardines outside, breathing all over each other without a mask on outside. That's not what they're saying. So yeah, in a city like Washington, D.C. or New York, where there's a ton of people, maybe you're walking down an empty block and you could take your mask off. Sure. But I wouldn't be like gallivanting in Times Square without a mask on. Also, I wouldn't be gallivanting in Times Square anyway, as a New Yorker. But let's continue.
The rest of us should be snorting at them first. They're the aggressors. It's our job to brush them back and restore the society we were born in. So the next time you see someone in a mask on the sidewalk or on the bike path, do not hesitate. Ask politely but firmly, would you please take off your mask? Science shows there is no reason for you to be wearing it. Your mask is making me uncomfortable. We should do that, and we should keep doing it until wearing a mask outside is roughly as socially accepted as lighting a Marlboro in an elevator.
Tucker Carlson was actually a really big smoker. In fact, if I remember correctly, he wrote a... Where is this? He wrote a piece for, what is this? Smoke Magazine. Defending smokers and posting photos with cigars, you know. He thought it was really socially acceptable, actually, to smoke. He was a big smoker. In fact, I think he even said something about Marlboros specifically. Let me pull this up here, which is really funny. So what did he say about... he said masks should be roughly as socially accepted as lighting a Marlboro in an elevator. Now, here's Tucker Carlson in Smoke Magazine. I think this is winter 2008-2009 issue. Poor Barack Obama, taunts Carlson. He's in tremendous physical shape according to his last physical exam, but it's considered a deal killer for him to smoke cigarettes. If he had one Marlboro Red, the election would have been over. There's always been a wide, if shallow, streak of moralism in American life, at various times aimed at various people and behaviors. People who have tried cigars, even those who are into physical fitness, recognize that cigar smoking is really one of the great pleasures. I mean, he's making the same argument defending cigar smokers from being socially ostracized, and smokers in general. Really funny. But let's continue.
It's repulsive. Don't do it around other people. That's the message we should send because it's true.
Also, he's being like sarcastic there. He's using probably what he's heard other people say to non-maskers against them by just taking what they say and changing the words around to be against mask wearers.
As for forcing children to wear masks outside, that should be illegal. Your response when you see children wearing masks as they play should be no different from your response to seeing someone beat a kid in Walmart. Call the police immediately. Contact Child Protective Services. Keep calling until someone arrives. What you're looking at is abuse. It's child abuse, and you are morally obligated to attempt to prevent it. If it's your own children being abused, then act accordingly. Let's say your kid's school emailed you to announce that every day after lunch, your sixth grader was going to get punched in the face by a teacher. How would you respond to that? That's precisely how you should respond when they tell you that your kids have to wear masks on the soccer.
Honestly, sounds like someone who was punched a lot in the face after lunchtime in the cafeteria. I feel some real projection coming on here.
Field. That is unacceptable, it is dangerous, and we should act like it, because it is. But too few of us have responded like that.
Right, too few of us have responded like that because it sounds a loony. It sounds crazy. And to speak specifically, I wanted to leave this to the end so I had a little bit more time to talk about it. What he's saying specifically about the kids wearing masks thing is totally a tip of the hat to QAnon believers. Conspiracy theorists who are obsessed with child trafficking, a thing that's obviously horrible, but not what they actually focus on. They talk about non-existent child sex trafficking instead of actually focusing on what organizations who actually really do combat this stuff say. They make up nonsensical fake child trafficking like the global satanic cannibal cult made up of Hollywood and Democratic members who are trafficking children all over the country and all over the world in order to suck their blood for adrenochrome in order to invigorate their skin. That's the type of child trafficking they're talking about, the fictional stuff. But Tucker's tipping his hat to them by bringing up the child wearing mask thing being child abuse. And the reason what he's talking about, I should say, is QAnon believers think that child traffickers have been taking advantage of mask wearing by forcing the children they traffic to wear masks. And they believe that the masks cover up physical, emotional cues from children who are being trafficked, and thus they can't be saved, which is completely bullshit. I mean, children aren't trafficked in that way. Or a very small, minuscule percentage of children are trafficked in that way. The majority of child trafficking in this world is actually runaway youth. And many of them actually do this willingly, still illegal. Them having sex at this age is rape. And what those people who find them and do these things to them, rape them, should be held to the full extent of the law. But the scenario where small children who are being grabbed off the street and thrown into a truck or run onto a subway away from their parents or something, I mean, that's not what's going on here. So I don't know what scenario they're talking about where you can, like, you're walking down the street and see some kid with like an adult's like hand around their neck guiding them through busy city streets. It's just not happening. But that's what Tucker is giving a wink and a nod to. I mean, I don't know what you would even do if you saw that. Like, are you going to accost someone who's walking around with a kid who's wearing a mask? I mean, I'll tell you this. If you do that, you will certainly go to jail because like 99.9999999999999% of the time someone will do that, what they'll be doing is fist fighting with the children's parents. And you will be the one abducting a child. And you will be the one who could probably be charged with attempted kidnapping and perhaps even child trafficking, depending on what you do and how far you get with this child. So, I mean, it's really quite ironic there that they're basically telling their listeners, well, Tucker's telling his listeners and QAnon are telling their fellow followers to literally take children away from their parents for wearing a mask, for making them wear a mask. I mean, I'll tell you this right now. I have a daughter who's under the age of 2, so she doesn't have to wear a mask. And so a lot of times we take her out without wearing a mask. But there's a lot of times because her big brother, who she adores and looks up to, who's 6, wears a mask. He's going to be 6 in a couple months. She wants to wear a mask. So we bought her one for when she like gets upset about how she doesn't have one. And she wants to wear one because she sees her big brother wearing one. I mean, you're going to save my children for them wanting to wear a mask? I mean, the fact of the matter, like I said earlier, there are going to be people who continue to wear masks for a long time. And when the pandemic is over and you see people wearing a mask, that's fine. When the pandemic's over and you don't want to wear a mask, that's fine too. I mean, and we're close to the pandemic being over, I think. I don't know why these people are so worked up about it. I mean, there are cultures that wear masks normally and have for decades after living through pandemics. It's not that big of a deal. Get over it.